Ivan always said she had a really hard time writing a love story, and I have a really hard time writing a love song, so this is the closest that either of us have ever come, and we're going to do it together.
Before we start, I just want to say, I think it was about 7 years ago, I know I wasn't going to do any banter. It was about 7 years ago, I think I first heard this guy play, and I knew as soon as I heard him, one day he was going to sell out the Vogue.
I just thought that you thought one day I was going to sell out.
And you know what else? Sincerely couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I'm going to tell you a love story. I met her 8 years ago at a party. And I don't remember too much about that night, but I remember the important things. I remember she was wearing tall red leather boots, and that her wool jacket and her handbag matched. And I remember that she had silver and black ringlets, framed her dimples, and her sparkling smart eyes. You see, some people, you can tell how brilliant they are from a distance. Yeah. It's like there's little invisible electric sparks coming out of their head from when their brain is working. And she was electric spark smart like that. I remember that I could make her laugh. And every time she laughed, my heart pounded possibility. And whenever I saw her from across the room, like not in a creepy way, but just like if I happened to catch her across the room, it was like she shone. It was like God himself was pointing her out to me with a gigantic, glowing, godlike finger. And he was saying, hey, buddy, just in case you're not paying attention, there she is. And I left that night alone with too many glasses of free, cheap red wine in my belly, without her phone number in my pocket.
Well, she might be wearing a green chemise and a hat that she bought, 'cause it matches her jeans and the water she drinks. Well, it comes from the stream by the house. She might win in that hospital lottery. And I might be stumbling and cursing them all when she picks me up from the place that we both call disaster relief. For the rent must be paid by the 1st of the month, or in my case, 15.
So I ran into her a couple of days later on the drive, just like I knew I would. And it was one of those early spring days in Vancouver. You know, when the gray of last week magically disappears, and suddenly it's raining cherry blossoms everywhere. Crushed in the scented carpet of them underfoot. We were talking about music. And somehow that band Nirvana came up. I don't remember why. I mean, I like them okay. It's Nirvana. Maybe they reminded me of a band I like more. I don't remember. What I do remember is all of a sudden she confessed to me that Nirvana's album Nevermind was her very favorite record of all of grade 7. Some silent math in my head. How could the smartest, sexiest, sexiest, silver-hairedest woman I'd ever met in my life be too young for me to go out with. Grade 7, I said. That means you'd be 23 years old. How did I get to be? Oh! So if my math is correct, that would mean that in 1981, when Nevermind first came out, you would have been, oh, shudder, 12 years old, she laughed. Like this didn't matter at all. She said, oh, it's the silver hair that fooled me, right? Yeah, it fools a lot of people. Started going gray when I was 18 years old. Runs in the family. For me to hold up all on my own. I told her I was too old for her. She told me age doesn't matter. I said the only people who actually believe that age doesn't matter are usually too young to know any better. She said that she had just come out of the closet and that she was looking for an older lover. She told me I was being ageist. People were just being ageist too back when I was her age. She told me I was being ageist. I told her I know. And then I let out a long sigh and I did what I had to do. I told her I was a dirty rotten rotter. I told her I had been around the block 1,000,000 times. I told her I had slept with more women than... I told her that I had enjoyed the company of a fair quantity of fine and lovely ladies in my long and lucky life of loving, yeah. And that she should pick someone special. She should pick someone special because if you think about it, this was her second chance at having a first time, and most people don't get that. They don't get a second first time chance at anything. And she shouldn't waste that chance on a pussy crook like me. I told her she should find a nice woman and move in together. Fall in crazy, stupid, dumb strut love. Don't get a cat though, I told her. Don't get a cat. And then eventually, probably, most likely fall out of love and suffer through a hopefully short but nevertheless nether region numbing bout of lesbian bed death. Move out. Figure yourself out. Get your own place. Lather, rinse, and repeat, I told her. As necessary. True story. She to go. Before I changed my mind, we'd see each other around from time to time, mostly at poetry readings. Started going to a lot of poetry readings. Started dressing up to go to poetry readings. I started ironing my shirt and buying fancy new ties to go to poetry readings. And I'm on Commercial Drive, and I'm waiting to turn left onto First Avenue. And me and my girlfriend at the time had recently broken up, but we were still living together, which might have been awkward. Okay. Luckily for me, she was usually found in Portland with her new girlfriend, who made twice as much money as me, had a really hot vintage truck, plus a brand new Harley Davidson. So I was doing what any self-respecting butch would do, finding myself in such a situation, throwing myself heart first into a complicated home improvement endeavor. This next part seems like magic, but it's true. Some people would say this is evidence that magic really does exist. There could be such a thing as evidence of magic. Anyways, I was listening to the radio. Classic rock. Fleetwood Mac was singing Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow. So I was thinking about tomorrow. I was thinking about how this whole breakup thing was for the best, right? Because finally, look, was I not going to get that new floor down in my office? Did this not mean that I was free? I could do whatever I wanted, with whomever I wanted, to do it with, or under, or on top of, or next to. And hey, after 5 years, didn't that mean I could finally ask that silver fox out on a date? If she would still have me? And that's when I saw her. I looked over, and she was standing right next to me. She's holding a latte. She was waiting for the light to turn, and her hair was now more silver than black, and she was somehow even more beautiful. And she waved at me like they do. She motioned for me to roll the window down, but I just leaned over and I just unlocked that passenger door, and she jumped right in. She said, "Where are you going?" She smiled and she showed that one crooked tooth. Man, I love that crooked tooth. I said, "I'm going to Home Depot." She said, "I love Home Depot." Flexible. And I vowed to quit smoking so I could keep up with her. And eventually I did. Quit smoking, that is. So, last summer I took her up to the Yukon to meet my family. My family loves her, especially my mom. I think she's actually the daughter that my mother always wanted. But instead she ended up with my deadbeat sister from Calgary and me as her real children. Anyways, I borrowed my mom's truck and I drove her out to one of my favorite places in the world, the Carcross Desert. Yeah. So much white sand all over everywhere. All that blue sky all over the sky. And some dirt bikers. Some dirt bikers that accidentally burnt this gigantic heart shape in the sand with their back tires. So I cleaned up all the burnt up logs and empty beer bottles, because I'm romantic like that. Now, we stood together in the center of that accidental heart. It seemed like the perfect place, perfect time. Put that big old diamond My family is beside themselves. Whatever that means. That night at dinner, my cousin Dan, he insisted that I tell everyone, just what I told you just now, the whole story of how we met. Because he said it's just so romantic. It's just